Incoming message.
Welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are stepping right into the shoes of expert researchers to investigate some truly groundbreaking raw data. Yesterday, May 22nd, 2026, the Pentagon dropped the second batch of declassified UAP files. We aren't looking at rumors or speculation today, folks. We are looking at official, verified military documentation. So let's just dive right into this. This new release is massive. We are talking about 222 new records and over 50 videos. But buried right in the absolute center of this release is a 116-page document detailing exactly 209 systematic sightings. And what's totally wild is that these aren't scattered across the globe. They are highly concentrated near a single U.S. military base. We're also looking at an official report of a splitting orb, which we'll analyze very closely. The urgency here is real. They are hiding this right in plain sight, and we are going to break down exactly what this data shows. Here is our investigative docket for today. 1. The second drop. 2. Defining the UAP categories. 3. The splitting orb anomaly. 4. Defying known flight physics. And 5. The transparency gap. Section 1. The second drop. Now, what is truly groundbreaking here is the stark contrast between the first and second releases. I mean, we all remember Batch 1, right? Grainy, blurry, plagued by sensor noise and atmospheric distortion. It was incredibly easy for critics to just dismiss it out of hand. But Batch 2? Oh, it is a completely different story. The footage here is incredibly clear. We can actually see the object's behavior. We can measure exact movements against known reference points. This massive shift from blurry ambiguity to high-resolution measurable data changes the entire landscape of UAP research. It finally allows us to apply rigorous scientific analysis to what we're seeing. Section 2. Defining the UAP categories. The military's 116-page report systematically catalogs these anomalous phenomena into 3 very distinct physical buckets. The first category is the green orbs. Now, this isn't a new phenomenon at all. It's actually one of the most consistently reported UAP types across decades of military and commercial aviation reports. What you really need to take away from this is their physical behavior. These objects emit a very consistent green luminescence, but they have absolutely no identifiable power source or exhaust. Furthermore, they move at speeds that would literally tear conventional materials apart, making instantaneous direction changes without losing an ounce of momentum. Next up, we have the discs. Now, I know, this is exactly what most people picture when they hear the word UFO, right? The classic sci-fi flying saucer. But we actually need to ground the shape in reality. This specific geometric profile has been documented in classified military files dating all the way back to the 1940s. So these aren't just visual hallucinations. They appear simultaneously on radar returns and in visual sightings by highly trained observers. And historically, they have proven incredibly resistant to our conventional military tracking systems. The third category cataloged at this base is fireballs. So unlike a meteor that just burns up as it falls chaotically through the atmosphere or, space debris tumbling back to Earth, these fireballs operate entirely differently. They're intensely luminous, almost like they're burning, but their flight paths are strictly controlled. They maintain very specific speeds and execute deliberate trajectories. The main takeaway? They aren't falling, they're navigating. Section 3. The splitting orb anomaly. Okay, this is easily the most electrifying piece of evidence in this entire new batch of files. Quote, a single glowing object divided into 2 separate objects, both continued moving independently, end quote. The really crucial point here is who actually wrote this. This wasn't some amateur skywatcher in their backyard. This report was filed by a senior U.S. intelligence officer, a professional whose identity remains classified, sure, but whose entire career is built on precise documentation and rigorous observation. We are talking about someone with high-level security clearances. They observed a completely impossible event during an operational deployment, and they officially placed it into the public record. Let's actually map out the exact chronology of this event because it utterly defies any known natural phenomena or classified drone tech. Step 1. The officer observes multiple glowing orbs moving in a highly controlled, synchronized pattern. Step 2. Right there in midair, A single orb entirely splits in half. It literally divides itself. Step 3. Those two newly formed objects don't fall or crash. They immediately begin operating completely independently of one another, moving off in different directions before eventually disappearing. Just take a second and think about the physics required for an object under apparent intelligent control to literally divide itself and maintain independent flight. It's just staggering. Section 4. Defying known flight physics. Because the footage in this second batch is so crystal clear, we can finally step away from just witness testimony and do pure scientific flight analysis. You see, any conventional aircraft relies on strict aerodynamic signatures. They need lift and thrust just to stay in the air. When they turn, they have to bank. Their speeds are completely governed by inertia, and they have strict structural stress limits. If an F-18 tries to do a 90-degree turn at Mach 3, well, it doesn't turn. It just turns into confetti. But these UAPs maneuver entirely indifferent to the physics of the air around them. They make instant direction changes, there are no wings, no exhaust, and absolutely no apparent structural stress limitations whatsoever. We can actually measure their velocity now, and it flatly contradicts what should be physically possible. So why does this matter so much? Honestly, it's the source. These videos were officially released by the United States Department of Defense. This wasn't leaked by a whistleblower on some random message board. It wasn't dug up by independent researchers. The most powerful military institution on the planet deliberately released clear footage that allows us to measure velocity against known reference points. And by releasing it, they are officially putting it on the record that these objects maneuver in ways that completely shatter our current understanding of physics. They are openly admitting they cannot explain what this is. Section 5. The transparency gap. We really need to zoom out from the flight physics for a second and just look at the sheer scale of the government secrecy surrounding this whole issue. That 0.01% figure, that should literally be on the front page of every newspaper in the world right now. The total universe of classified UAP material held by the US government is estimated at roughly 3.8 million records. Between the 162 records in the first batch and the 222 in the second batch, we have a total of just 384 released records. Think about that. All of these revelations, the green orbs, the disks, the incredibly clear physics-defying footage, the splitting object, all of it comes from 1/100% of what the government actually possesses. Which brings us to this incredible reaction. Holy crap. Those two words were spoken by a US lawmaker who was recently briefed on the unreleased material. Keep in mind, this lawmaker had already seen the clear footage. They had already read the intelligence officer's report about the splitting orb. They knew all about the 209 sightings. And yet, upon seeing what is still held behind closed doors, their genuine reaction was simply, holy crap. The Pentagon has officially stated that additional files are going to be released within the next 30 days. So I really want to leave you with this to think about. If a mid-air splitting orb and 209 highly concentrated military sightings represent just 0.01% of the data, what on earth could possibly be coming in the next 30 days? What kind of footage actually exists in those remaining 3.8 million records that makes a physics-defying, splitting UAP look like just the warm-up act? We are at the very, very beginning of disclosure. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious, keep analyzing the data, and I'll see you right back here for the next drop.
Come to me, chickens! Cock-a-doodle-doo!